Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. Now, the first video didn't go as bad as I thought. The group were quite supportive. I mean, I doubt that they were ever going to be brutal on the first one and say that it was a pile of rubbish. But like I said, I want to do weekly vlogs and try and, allow me to go into a bit more detail into what I'm doing. Now, like I said last week, I've not been able to train as much because of a back spasm. And today is going to be the first back workout that I've done in give or take 2 weeks. So I thought I'd show what I'm doing for that workout, go through why I'm exercising the way I am, and then see what happens during the workout in terms of what comes to my mind in terms of what to speak about. But before the gym, what do I normally do? I've never had pre-workout, so it was always a thing. It was never scientifically driven back in the day. It was more to do with resources. So if I went on holiday or went to a venue where I didn't have any pre-workout and I was dependent upon it, I just feared that it would significantly affect me in a bad way. So I've never taken it. So the only thing I would do beforehand is maybe have a coffee, which like I said before, I love any excuse to have a coffee. So I'll probably have one of them and I'll just go straight into it. Warming up has been a big part of what I'm doing recently. So I've been doing more mobility. I have actually stuck to daily mobility, 10 to 15 minutes. But today I'm going to focus on mainly pull-ups, if I'm being honest, nothing too strenuous on my lower back. And like I said, yeah, you can come and have a look and see what it is that I actually do. Just before I go and do my workout, we've just had this delivered, which is the first, example of the blood test, which I've just had to make up because it was sent in an origami style, but that's going to be what our blood test looks like. You scan the QR code and then depending on what panel you've gone for, we will be able to analyse them results, do a consultation. But I am going to go through this in another video because I'm going to go through my results and my health inequalities that has led to form this business. Now for my back workout today, I'm probably just going to do so many pull-ups. I'm probably going to aim for 50 just because I haven't done it for a long time. And then I am going to maybe do some rear delts, nothing too crazy, just to get back into all the swing of things, to be honest. But I mean, over the last 2 years I've trained in this gym. I find it's not too bad, but there's a few things that I miss. There's a few things that, like the rowing machine that I used to love doing. There's heavy dumbbells. I've only got up to 15 kilos, which obviously isn't the best if you're trying to improve your strength, but I think there's enough here so that I can't complain. But like I said, the lighting's normally okay, so if it doesn't look the best on camera, you'll see why, because of that hex lighting. But I'm going to record a few of these sets and then I'll pop in between. So after all that, I nearly forgot the most important part of my workout regimes of recent years, which is warming up before I do absolutely anything. And I mean, gone are the days where I could just go into the gym, put weight on a bench press machine or a row and just go into a working set. Now I've got to spend at least 10-15 minutes doing some form of, I focus on my shoulders mainly because they're the ones I feel go first. And yeah, it just adds a bit more time to the routine. But in terms of training now, I used to have a really rigorous regime where I would have certain days, and I still do to an extent. I've done more cardiovascular in terms of the schedule, but I used to come in and do so many working sets, whereas now I'll come in and just just work out how I feel on the day, to be honest. So like today, like I said, I'm going to do 50 pull-ups, depending on how many sets I can do them in. And then after that, do some shoulder raises and just see where it takes me. And I don't put too much pressure on myself to do certain weights anymore, certain time in terms of resting. And I try and enjoy it a bit more because, like I said, I'm in it for the long haul, not just a short-term thing. 2 sets in, 10 then 8, and the decline slowly starts, and this is where the last few sets just become so painful. The first few sets are okay, but you can just see how much your pulling power goes. I mean, especially, I've only been off for 2 weeks from doing any pull-ups, and you completely lose it so quick. But that's the point, you've got to be consistent with it and not leave it out too long like I did. "26 down, 24 to go." Now, when I used to start doing these workouts where I'd set a target, 50 reps, 100 reps, whatever it may be, I used to think, oh, 50 pull-ups, not too bad. But when, depending on how long you take for rest, and then in terms of form, how long you allow yourself to take the negative, it just completely changes how hard the exercise is. And then 50 reps doesn't seem too easy, and it becomes, seems like it's such a far distance away from where I am now. 24 reps, ideally 3 sets of 8, but I don't think I'll keep up the 8 sets, or the sets of 8, for much longer. I'll give myself that one, but I've got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, come on, 3 more. Oh, 2.5. I'll do 2 more because that one was poor. Right, oh, knackered already. I'm giving myself that one. Like I said, I've changed my training up so much over the past, even as little as 2 years, because years ago when I started going, I'd go to the gym, I'd have certain numbers, I need to squat X amount, shoulder press this amount, and if I didn't reach it, the whole workout would just seem null and void. Whereas now, I'm having this idea that I hopefully will age, and when I get into 40s, 50s, 60s, I want to still train, I want to enjoy it, and I know that I'm full well not going to be able to lift as much as I could, even as little as 5 years ago. So I've changed the whole approach. Like today, made it a lot easier for myself. I mean, I'm knackered after 50 pull-ups, to be honest. I'm going to do some shrugs, which I used to love doing. Used to always want to have big traps after watching all the people on YouTube, all the bodybuilders, but I'll do some of that. And the reason is, I'd done a grip test the other day with a dumbbell, 40 kilos, and like I said, I only have up to 15 kilos in here, so when I'd done it, I think I only held it for, it was shy of 2 minutes anyway, and I was embarrassed, so I was like, okay, I need to start improving that. So I'm going to do single arm shrugs on the Smith machine. But yeah, I think the key thing for me is to start enjoying it and try and incorporate it wherever it does fit into my life. Hopefully it's going to change over the next few months with, I'm hoping that this business takes off in some capacity, that I can have a bit more freedom of when I do train as opposed to navigating it in between a 9 to 5. But yeah, I'll let you see a few shoulder shrugs, then I'll go into raises and then see where that takes us. So after this, I've got a 15-minute mobility class that I've sort of scheduled online. Well, it's with the Peloton app, so I'll do that. I'll try and do lower body, because I think that's where a lot of my back problems have come from, is poor hip mobility, like I've said before. I mean, I think it just puts a lot of strain on my lower back, knees, hamstrings. So that's something I've been doing every day, and I just find it so painful just doing even knee rotations, knee touches when you're in a squat position. So I'll definitely work on that. But today, my workout was just 50 pull-ups, wide grip. I tried to make sure my form was pretty good, but I've then done quite a lot of sets of shrugs, and then I've went on to rear delt raises or bent over. Form could be a bit better, to be honest, but I'll be honest, my lower back is not the best today, whether that's because of the way I sleep as well. But yeah, I'm not going to be too hard on myself. I'll go back, do that mobility, and tomorrow, Sunday, I'll probably do some legs, probably focus more on cardiovascular, if I'm being honest, maybe do a spin, or even add a bit of rowing in, so it does a bit of my back as well. And then next week, I'm hopefully going to ramp it up, but I focus more on the VO2 max training now, if I'm being honest. I feel as though I neglected that a lot throughout the 20s. I used to play footy until the age of 18, where you took for granted really your cardiovascular fitness, and then went into the gym where bodybuilding style training isn't the most optimal in terms of, well, health metrics really, apart from gaining muscle mass, which you still need to do. But I think next week I'm going to increase the intensity of the spins that I'm doing. I'm doing something called power zone training, where I'll measure my FTP, functional threshold power, in another 6 weeks and see where I get up to. But like I said earlier on in the video, the next video I do, I'm going to go through my health metrics, which may sound boring, but the whole point of why I started BioElite, which is going to be launching hopefully soon, and why I've changed my style of training, and the message that I want to get out to people in terms of it doesn't matter how well you can perform exercises, how strong you are, how you look physically. It's all to do with how your body's reacting biochemically. And there's so many things. I've just done a podcast for BioElite then, where I've discussed a case study where a seemingly healthy 40-year-old woman had metabolic syndrome leading into type 2 diabetes. I've got a genetic form of diabetes, but I'll go into that into the next video. So if you've reached it this far, hopefully tune in for the next one, and then I'll see you soon.